Alright, so now I'm here at the Yonex stringing team together with Tim Willis, one of the maybe most famous stringers in the world. Tim, how was your day so far, and what are you going to do?
I'm going to do as little as possible. No. The day's good. We started quite early because there's quite a lot of rackets to do, obviously. Players haven't been playing much in the last week, so we expected a lot of rackets here, which is why we have a team of 8 guys. But we're coping well.
So you can really feel a difference when there is a longer break for the players, that they miss hit more often and you have a lot more work to do?
Yeah, also they arrive at the tournaments, they don't have their racket strung at home because obviously they're in a big training block. Very difficult for them to get their racket strung. And obviously the Asians, when they fly in, I think they feel sometimes that they lose a bit of tension on the flight. So yeah, they bring a lot of rackets.
So behind us there are many rackets already lying here. So how does it work? How can you get a racket strung here at the German Open?
Well, first you would, for Yonex players, it's free of charge, which is also probably the reason we get so many. So you would have to go to the login area. You write a ticket out with your name, country, your string tension. We put it in the computer, and then it's basically you don't say to a stringer, you are looking after this player. Every stringer should be able to string the same. So we just put them in the row in the order that they come. They get strung, then they get put out on the table here in the different types of rackets, and then the players that we trust come along and they collect the rackets.
So you know what was the record in your memories, the player with the most rackets strung in one tournament?
The player?
Yeah.
Probably was a long time ago. I would say it was probably Jens Eriksson, maybe 35 rackets.
In one tournament?
In one tournament.
And now in recent history, one of the guys playing here, is there also
Marvin.
One? Marvin?
Marvin in the World Champs, Marvin had 16, I think, which is about 10 above everybody else.
Okay, then I have to have a serious talk with him later.
But it was very cold in Spain here.
So how many rackets are you doing as a stringer in one day?
I'm here more as a supervisor, so I'm not doing so many, but most of the guys are averaging between 22, 30 rackets. A couple can do over. They can do up to 35, 40 rackets a day.
Okay, so who's the racket holder here?
It's Ty and Eric, so I think you're going to meet Ty in a minute for a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, you're right.
Good luck with that.
I'm already a bit afraid, like 30 to 40 rackets sounds pretty insane.
Yeah, but we have to stop them at 35 because
okay.
we need to do something the next day.
Okay.
But it's the most I ever did in a day was a 24-hour day was 55 rackets.
Oh, crazy. So what is the most popular string at the moment?
It's still BG80, but both colours together now. So there's not so many players using BG80 yellow, where it used to be all of the Danish were using yellow 80, if you remember at one time. I think most of Europe was. Now is white 80 is very popular. But now coming, if you divide the two strings, the most popular individual is Aerobyte.
Okay.
And it's really, really popular now. Everybody's using it.
And the average tension the players use, and also the maximum tension?
The average tension is around 30 pounds, 13 kilos. The highest tension here is, without pre-stretch, is Kento. Is 33 on the main strings, 35 on the crosses.
Okay.
The highest actual tension with 10% pre-stretch is Victor. He has 32 on the main strings, 34 on the cross, with 10% pre-stretch, which pulls it, obviously would pull it to 35, and then on the crosses would pull to 38.
So you just mentioned pre-stretch. Could you just give us a brief overview of what that actually means and why you're doing a pre-stretch for some strings?
It basically means that you can set the machine to 5, 10, 15, 20% extra. So you would pull the as you pull the string, it pulls it that extra percentage, then drops back to the tension that is required. So you basically made the string harder. The reason the players like it is because of the hitting sound is a lot better, and it also seems to hold its tension a bit longer. But there's not so many players using it now because we developed a new way with Yonex, where, for instance, we would say the main string is 30 pounds. We string the cross string 10% higher, so 33, and that more or less comes up the same as Prestretch.
Okay. So are there also any players with some special wishes for their stringing? Or is it like you do it the same way for everyone? Also
we do it the same way.
difference?
We do it the same way for all the players, even if it's a non-Yonex racket. We do the same. It's basically if a player writes on the ticket, they must write 2 tensions, main strings, cross strings. If they write 2 specific tensions, then that's what we do. Otherwise, we do the Yonex way. Obviously, other rackets we do slightly different. So we would go down 1 pound, up 1 pound, and then there's one player that is using Arc 11, the Chinese player, that wants an extra string at the top.
Okay.
He's a doubles player, obviously, and he can't hold his racket up. But the most fussiest was Matthias Bow.
Okay.
There's always extra string at the top.
Okay.
Must be this, must be this. You must put the logo like this, and he was the fussiest.
Okay. So maybe you have also some advice for the people stringing at home. Are there any things they should consider? So what tension should you basically use if you're like not on a professional level, maybe just intermediate or beginner? And if you want to string your own rackets, what should you look for? What strings should you take, and maybe what tension?
Well, first of all, before you string the racket, you should check all the grommets to make sure that they're in good condition. You can either change them, or you can use what we use is a grommet grinder. So if the racket's only been strung a couple of times, you can twist the grommet so you can use it again. This is a very popular way in Asia. As for string, it's a preferred thing. You know, they need to try different strings, try different tensions, but for amateurs you should say around 21, 22, 23 pounds. Not too hard because they don't hit it in the middle all the time, and they obviously don't get free restrings, so they can't afford to keep paying. But the home stringer just really has to be careful when they mount the racket. You can't overstretch it. You have to be able to move it slightly in the machine, and then keep things simple. There's many home stringers. We try and help as many people as possible, but we can't be there all the time.
Yeah. So what does more tension mean? So when should you increase the tension on your rackets?
More tension means more control. There's still this thing that's saying the less tension, the more power. I think not so much now is the case, because I believe the shuttles are lighter than they used to be. The rackets are lighter, so I think you need the strings a little bit harder. And also, they like the hitting sound. So, for instance, in Dubai, Matthias Bow had his racket strung 35-36 with 10% pre-stretch.
So how many kilos are that?
15, 16 kilos. And then he was knocking up on the court, and the players were looking at him thinking, wow, I can hear this. You know, he's hitting it really hard. Maybe not. But this is what him and Mogensen used to say, is they hear and they look at you and they think, wow, this is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I remember I tried Mark Zwiebler's racket. He came back from, I don't know, Hong Kong, and strung them with 15 kilos. And it sounded really nice, but I had shoulder pain after 5 minutes because I was totally not used to such a high tension in the racket.
Yeah, we actually, for fun, we tested some rackets, Dura Z Strike. We put Aerosonic at 22.
Okay.
Okay. The frame was very good. And then Boris went to court to test, and he said, here, Mid-court was perfect, but try and hit a clear. Just impossible. But the frame did take it.
Okay, so it survived.
Yeah, until it got on the aeroplane. And then I opened the bag and it was in 2 pieces.
So did it also happen here sometimes that the rackets break during stringing?
It's not very often now, because obviously we check the rackets to see if they're broken when we're checking the grommets. Sometimes you can have a flaw in the racket, which we don't see, and it is possible that it could break while you're stringing.
Okay.
But obviously, as the tournament sponsor, we have a few rackets for reserve to give the players if there's a broken one.
All right.